All right, CNT125, Chapter 8. We're now to the section on implementing subnets. So we've done all of these problems. We've created our charts. What are we going to do with it? Well, real quickly, let's take one more sample. We'll subnet a class C again, make our chart, and see how we would use these numbers. What are we going to do with them? We are actually going to do this in the lab room. We are going to make our own network map and implement these IPs on our routers and switches in our own network, so we can see our own subnetted network actually functions. Okay, so let's take a class C. We're going to make 6 subnets. So to do that, we'll borrow 3 bits. We'll have 2 subnets left over, but we have enough to get the job done. Here's our default subnet mask. Here's our default subnet mask. We're going to borrow 3 bits, so there's our 3 bits borrowed right there. 2 to the 3 is going to give us 8 subnets. 5 bits left is going to give us 32 addresses per subnet, of which 30 are usable. When I borrow 3 bits, this becomes my subnet mask, 224 in the last octet, or /27. If I look at this last octet where we subnetted, I borrowed the 3 bits. I'm borrowing to the 32 place. This is my interesting bit, the 32 place. So my subnets are going to go up by a factor of 32. So for my subnetting chart, I start writing out my subnets, 0, 32, 64, 96. There's my subnet network numbers. Again, if this subnet starts at 0, this one 32, this first one has to end at 31. There's my broadcast, 31. This one 63, this one 95, and so forth. My usables end up being one more, one less, 1 to 30. And again, we only need to worry about this last octet because we're dealing with a class C. We're only dealing with this last octet because we're dealing with a class C. So these usable numbers are the ones we're now going to take and use in my network. So, and actually here's my chart. There's my 8 subnets over here. 32 numbers here the whole way across the top, and then 30 usable here. So all the planning, there's all the planning we did. Now, we had a network number 192.168.89.0. So I'll take, this is the example they have in the book, the map they have in the book. I can allocate this floor here, floor 1. We're going to say this will be the 0 subnet. So this right here would be 89.1. That's the address that I would assign to this router, and that would become the gateway address. The workstations on this network would be, .2, .3, .4, .5, etc. And they would all belong to this 0 subnet. Floor 2, I would say, okay, this will be the 32 subnet. I'm going to allocate the 32 subnet to this floor. 33 will be the address of the router on this one. This gateway router address will be 33. Workstations will be 34, 35, 36, all belonging to this 32 subnet. Third floor, we'll say, is the 64 subnet. The router over here, router interface, we're going to assign 65. That will be the gateway address. And the workstations will be 66, 67, 68 on this floor, all belonging to that subnet. That's how we start implementing. So I'm going to back up to my chart here. I start assigning these subnet numbers to the networks. In this case, we went over here and said 0 subnet 32, 64. We're saying that floor, that network. And then these right here become the router interfaces, addresses we use for printers, addresses we use for workstations, etc. We start using, these are the usable addresses we're going to use for that subnet. So here, any addresses out of the 0 subnet would apply to devices here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This one, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. This one here, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70 would all be addresses for this floor. This is how we start using those numbers and implementing the subnets. That's what we're going to do in the lab room with our own IP scheme on our own devices.